The morning sun cut through the windshield as Leo Ward pulled into the parking lot at Riverside Park. Holly sat in the back seat, her small hands pressed against the window, watching other children race toward the playground equipment. "Can we go now, Daddy?" Her voice was soft, almost timid. "Yeah, baby. Let's go." Leo unbuckled his seatbelt and stepped out. The air smelled like cut grass and someone's barbecue from across the field. Saturday mornings were supposed to be easy. Simple. A father and daughter at the park. He opened the back door and helped Holly out of her booster seat. She gripped his hand tight, the way she always did in public spaces. At 6 years old, she should have been running ahead, eager to climb and swing. Instead, she stayed close, her blue eyes scanning the other kids like she was afraid to join them. "You want to try the slide?" Leo asked, keeping his voice light. Holly nodded, but didn't let go of his hand. They walked across the wood chips together. A few other parents waved. Leo nodded back, but didn't stop to chat. He wasn't in the mood for small talk today. Taylor had been in one of her moods this morning, snapping at him about leaving dishes in the sink. He learned to just walk away when she got like that. The playground was busy. Kids shouted and laughed, their voices bright and carefree. Holly watched them from behind Leo's leg. "Go ahead, sweetheart. I'm right here." She looked up at him, then at the slide. Finally, she let go of his hand and walked toward the ladder. Her steps were careful, measured. She climbed slowly, one rung at a time, her sneakers making soft thuds against the metal. Leo leaned against the railing, arms crossed, watching. Other kids pushed past her, scrambling up faster. Holly didn't seem to mind. She reached the top and sat down, her legs dangling over the edge of the slide. Then she slipped. It happened fast. 1 second she was sitting, the next her body tilted sideways. Her hand shot out to grab the rail, but missed. She tumbled down the side of the ladder, her arm hitting the metal bar with a sharp crack that made Leo's stomach drop. He was moving before she hit the ground. "Holly!" She landed hard on her side, with chips scattering around her. Her face twisted, mouth opening in a silent scream before the sound finally came out, high and terrified. Leo dropped to his knees beside her. It's okay. I got you." She was sobbing, clutching her left arm against her chest. Other parents gathered around, murmuring concern. Someone asked if they should call 911. "I'm taking her to the clinic," Leo said, scooping Holly up as gently as he could. She buried her face in his neck, her tears hot against his skin. He carried her to the car, ignoring everyone else. His hands shook as he buckled her into her seat. She was still crying, softer now, hiccuping breaths between sobs. "Daddy's here. We're going to get you fixed up?" "Okay." She nodded, her face pale and streaked with tears. The drive to Boise Family Clinic took 12 minutes. Leo kept glancing in the rearview mirror, watching Holly cradle her arm. His mind raced. Should have been closer. Should have been watching better. Shouldn't have let her climb alone. The clinic waiting room was half full. A receptionist looked up as Leo carried Holly through the door. "She fell at the park," Leo said. "Her arm." The receptionist nodded, already typing. "We'll get her back as soon as possible." 10 minutes felt like an hour. Holly sat on Leo's lap, quiet now, her breathing still uneven. He rubbed her back in slow circles, the way he used to when she was a baby. "Leo Ward." A nurse stood in the doorway, holding a clipboard. They followed her back through the narrow hallway. The exam room was small, walls painted pale yellow with cartoon animals stenciled near the ceiling. Holly climbed onto the paper-covered table, still holding her arm. "Dr. Patel will be right in," the nurse said, checking Holly's vitals and making notes. When the door opened again, Dr. Arjun Patel stepped inside. He was a calm man, late 40s, with dark eyes that seemed to notice everything. He'd been Holly's pediatrician since she was born. "What happened today, Holly?" Dr. Patel asked, pulling up a stool. Holly looked at Leo. "She fell off the slide ladder," Leo explained. "Landed on her arm." Dr. Patel examined Holly's arm carefully, his fingers gentle as he checked for swelling. Holly winced but didn't cry. "We'll need an x-ray to be sure, but I think it might be fractured. Nothing serious, but we need to check." He smiled at Holly. "You're being very brave." The x-ray room was cold. Leo stood behind the protective barrier while Holly held her arm still on the machine. She looked so small under those bright lights. Back in the exam room, Dr. Patel clipped the X-ray film to a light board. Leo could see the thin, dark line running through Holly's forearm bone. Hairline fracture, Dr. Patel confirmed. It'll heal well. We'll put her in a cast, and she'll need to keep it on for about 6 weeks. Leo exhaled. Okay, thank you. Dr. Patel pulled Holly's medical file from the counter and flipped through it, his brow furrowing slightly. He glanced at Holly, then back at the file. His expression changed, something tightening around his eyes. Holly, can you lift your shirt for me? Just part way. Holly looked confused but obeyed, pulling up the hem of her pink t-shirt. Dr. Patel leaned closer, examining her ribcage. Leo saw it then, a faded scar about 2 inches long, pale against her skin. He'd never noticed it before. How long has this scar been here? Dr. Patel asked, his tone neutral but focused. Leo stepped closer. What scar? Dr. Patel pointed. This one, right here along her ribs. Leo stared at it. His mind went blank. I don't know. I didn't know it was there. Dr. Patel nodded slowly. He looked at Holly again, then stood and walked to his desk. He wrote something down, his pen moving quick and precise. Mr. Ward, can we talk outside for a moment? Leo's chest tightened. Is something wrong? Just for a moment. They stepped into the hallway. Dr. Patel closed the door partway, keeping Holly in view but out of earshot. You didn't know about that scar? Dr. Patel's voice was quiet but firm. No, I swear. What are you saying? Dr. Patel crossed his arms. I'm reviewing her medical history. This is the 3rd visit in 18 months for injuries. The scar looks like it's from an impact injury, possibly a few months old. Combined with today's fracture and some older bruising I'm seeing on her legs, I have to ask a difficult question. Leo's heart pounded. Go ahead. Has there been any violence in your home? Any physical altercations between you and your wife? Anything that might have put Holly at risk? The words hit Leo like cold water. What? No, never. I would never hurt my daughter. Dr. Patel raised a hand. I'm not accusing you, Mr. Ward, but I'm required by law to ask these questions when I see patterns that concern me. Some of these injuries look older than they should. I need to know if there's something happening at home. Leo felt his face flush. We don't hit her. Neither of us. Does your wife discipline Holly alone? Are there times when you're not present? Leo opened his mouth, then closed it. His mind flashed to Taylor, her sharp voice, the way she'd snap at Holly for small things. The bathroom door locked. Holly crying. I work during the day, Leo said slowly. Taylor's home with her most of the time. Dr. Patel held his gaze. You may want to talk to your wife. Carefully. Pay attention to how Holly acts around her. Watch for signs of fear or withdrawal. You think Taylor's hurting her? I'm saying the evidence suggests someone is. And if it's not you, then you need to find out who. Dr. Patel paused. I'm going to note this in Holly's file. If I see another unexplained injury, I'll be required to file a report with Child Protective Services. Do you understand? Leo's throat felt tight. Yeah, I understand. They went back inside. Dr. Patel fitted Holly with a bright purple cast, chatting with her about her favorite colors and animals. Holly smiled, her earlier fear forgotten. But Leo couldn't shake the knot in his stomach. The drive home was quiet. Holly dozed off in the back seat, exhausted from crying. Leo's hands gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. When they pulled into the driveway, Taylor's car was already there. She must have come back early from her sister's house. The front door opened before Leo could unbuckle Holly. Taylor stood on the porch, arms crossed. What happened? Leo lifted Holly out carefully. She fell at the park. Broke her arm. Taylor's face shifted from concern to annoyance. How did you let that happen? It was an accident. You were supposed to be watching her. Leo carried Holly past Taylor into the house. Not now. He took Holly to the couch and settled her down with a blanket. She curled up against the cushions, her cast resting on a pillow. Leo kissed her forehead. Rest, baby. I'll make you some lunch. In the kitchen, Taylor followed him. Her voice dropped low. So what did the doctor say? Leo pulled bread from the cabinet. Hairline fracture. 6 weeks in the cast. That's it. Leo turned to face her. His jaw tightened. He asked about a scar on her ribs. Did you know she had a scar? Taylor blinked. What scar? About 2 inches long. On her side. Taylor shrugged. Kids get hurt. She probably scraped herself playing. He said it looked like an impact injury. Taylor's expression hardened. What are you saying, Leo? I'm asking if you know how she got it. No, I don't. Maybe it happened at daycare before we pulled her out. I don't know every single bump and bruise she gets. Leo stared at her. Something in her tone felt wrong. Defensive. Too quick. The doctor asked if there was any violence at home. Taylor's eyes flashed. And what did you tell him? I said no. Good. Because there isn't. She stepped closer, her voice sharp. You think I'm hurting our daughter? Is that what you believe? I didn't say that. But you're thinking it. I can see it on your face. Leo set the bread down. I'm just trying to figure out how she got hurt. She's 6. 6-year-olds get hurt. That's what they do. Taylor grabbed her purse from the counter. I'm going out. I need some air. She left before Leo could respond. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the frame. Leo stood in the kitchen, alone, his mind spinning. That evening, the house felt too quiet. Holly ate soup for dinner with her good hand, her purple cast propped on the table. She didn't talk much, just nodded when Leo asked if she wanted more crackers. Taylor came home around 7. She didn't apologize for leaving. She didn't ask about Holly. She went straight to the bedroom and closed the door. Leo cleaned the dishes while Holly colored at the table. Her drawings were always the same, stick figures holding hands under a smiling sun. But tonight, she drew something different. A girl with tears standing alone in a dark room. That's a sad picture, Leo said gently. Holly didn't look up. She's scared. Why is she scared? Holly's crayon stopped moving. I don't know. Leo crouched beside her chair. Holly, if something ever scares you, you can tell me. You know that, right? She nodded, but didn't meet his eyes. At 8 o'clock, Leo told Holly it was time for her bath. She stiffened. I don't want a bath tonight. You need one, sweetheart. We'll keep your cast dry. Can you give me the bath? Leo paused. Doesn't Mom usually do it? Holly's face went pale. I want you to do it. Before Leo could answer, Taylor appeared in the hallway. I'll do it. Come on, Holly. Holly shrank back in her chair. Daddy said he'd do it. Taylor's smile was thin. Daddy doesn't know how to do it right. Come on. Holly looked at Leo, her eyes pleading. I can handle it tonight, Leo said. Taylor's expression darkened. She's my daughter too, Leo. I know how to bathe her. I didn't say you didn't. I just thought. Come on, Holly. Now. Holly slid off the chair slowly. She followed Taylor down the hall, her shoulders hunched. Leo watched them go, unease crawling up his spine. The bathroom door closed. A moment later, he heard the lock click. Leo stood in the kitchen, listening. Water ran. He heard Taylor's voice, muffled through the door, saying something he couldn't make out. Then Holly's voice, small and frightened. I don't want to. You have to. It's too hot. Stop being difficult. Leo moved down the hall. He stood outside the bathroom door, his hand hovering over the knob. The water stopped. He heard splashing. Then Holly cried out. Ow! Mommy, stop. Taylor's voice rose. Hold still. You're hurting me. Leo tried the knob. Locked. Taylor, open the door. We're fine. Go away. Open the door. Leave us alone. Holly was crying now, full sobs that made Leo's chest ache. He pounded on the door. Taylor, open this door right now. Go away, Leo. He stepped back, fists clenched, his whole body shaking. Every instinct screamed at him to break the door down. But he forced himself to breathe, forced himself to stay calm. The crying stopped. The silence was worse. 5 minutes later, the lock clicked. Taylor opened the door, her face flushed. Holly stood behind her wrapped in a towel, her eyes red and swollen. She's fine, Taylor said flatly. She just doesn't like getting her hair washed. Leo pushed past her. He knelt in front of Holly. Are you okay? Holly nodded, but wouldn't look at him. Did she hurt you? Leo, stop, Taylor snapped. You're scaring her. Leo ignored her. Holly, tell me the truth. Did Mom hurt you? Holly's lip trembled. I'm okay. That's enough, Taylor said. She's tired. Let her go to bed. Leo wanted to argue, wanted to demand answers. But Holly looked so small, so exhausted. He helped her into her pajamas and tucked her into bed. He kissed her forehead and whispered, I love you. Love you too, Daddy. He left the door cracked and walked back to the living room. Taylor sat on the couch, arms crossed, staring at nothing. What happened in there? Leo asked. Nothing happened. She's dramatic. She was screaming. She didn't want her hair washed. Kids scream. That's what they do. Leo sat down across from her. Why did you lock the door? Because I knew you'd barge in and make it worse. She asked me to give her the bath. She's manipulating you, Leo. She knows you're a pushover. Leo's jaw clenched. Don't say that. It's true. You let her get away with everything. That's why she acts out with me. Acts out? She's 6 years old. Exactly. And she needs discipline. There's a difference between discipline and whatever that was. Taylor stood up, her face hard. You don't know what it's like being with her all day. You go to work and come home and play the hero. I'm the one who deals with her tantrums and her whining and her constant needs. Don't you dare judge me. Leo stood too. I'm not judging you. I'm asking you what happened. Nothing happened. Taylor's voice cracked. Why are you acting like I'm some kind of monster? I'm not. Yes, you are. You've been looking at me like I'm guilty of something ever since you came back from the clinic. What did that doctor say to you? Leo hesitated. He said some of Holly's injuries looked concerning. Taylor's face went white. So now you think I'm abusing her? Is that it? I didn't say that. But you're thinking it. You're standing there thinking your wife is some kind of child abuser. Taylor, get out. Her voice was ice. Sleep somewhere else tonight. I can't even look at you. She stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. Leo stood in the living room, his hands shaking. He grabbed a blanket from the closet and went to the garage. The concrete floor was cold, even through the blanket. He lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, his mind replaying everything. The scar, the bruises, Holly's fear, Taylor's anger. Something inside him broke. Not loudly, just a quiet crack, like ice splintering under weight. He knew, deep in his gut, that something was very wrong. The next morning, Leo called in sick to work. He couldn't focus, couldn't think straight. He needed to talk to someone who would be honest with him, even if the truth hurt. He needed Nina. His sister lived 20 minutes away in a small house near the river. She answered on the second ring. Leo? What's wrong? Can I come over? Of course. Are you okay? No. 30 minutes later, Leo sat at Nina's kitchen table, his hands wrapped around a mug of coffee he hadn't touched. Nina sat across from him, her dark eyes sharp and focused. She was 41, 3 years older than Leo, and she'd always been the one who saw through everyone's act. Talk to me, she said. Leo told her everything. The fall at the park, the scar, Dr. Patel's questions, the locked bathroom door, Taylor's rage. He didn't sugarcoat any of it. Nina listened without interrupting. When Leo finished, she sat back in her chair and exhaled slowly. You've been defending her for years, Leo. Maybe it's time you stop. What are you talking about? Taylor, her temper, her mood swings, the way she treats you like you're nothing. Nina leaned forward. I've watched you shrink yourself down for that woman. I've watched her isolate you from your friends, from me, from anyone who might tell you the truth. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you went out with your buddies from work? When's the last time you came to my house without her permission? Leo looked down at his coffee. She doesn't like it when I'm gone too much. She doesn't like you having a life outside of her. That's controlling, Leo. And if she's doing that to you, what do you think she's doing to a 6-year-old who can't fight back? The words hit Leo like a punch. You think she's hurting Holly. I think the evidence is right in front of you. And you don't want to see it because it means admitting you married someone capable of that. Leo's throat tightened. I don't know what to do. Nina reached across the table and gripped his hand. If you want to protect that little girl, you need to stop worrying about looking like the bad guy. You need to stop worrying about Taylor's feelings. You need to start paying attention. I am paying attention. Then look closer. Check Holly's room. Check her body for marks. Talk to her when Taylor's not around. Get her to trust you enough to tell you the truth. Leo pulled his hand back. And then what? What if she tells me something I can't unhear? Then you call the police, Nina said firmly. You protect your daughter. That's what you do. They sat in silence for a long moment. Finally, Leo stood. Thanks for being honest with me. That's what family does. Nina walked him to the door. Leo, listen to me. Whatever you find out, don't warn Taylor. Don't give her a chance to cover it up or turn it around on you. If you find proof, you go straight to the authorities. Do you understand? Leo nodded. though his stomach churned at the thought. He drove home slowly, his mind racing. When he pulled into the driveway, Taylor's car was gone. A note on the kitchen counter said she'd taken Holly to the grocery store. Leo stood in the empty house, Nina's words echoing in his head. Look closer. He walked down the hall to Holly's room. It was small and painted pale pink, stuffed animals lined up neatly on the shelves. Her bed was made, the purple cast sticking out from under her blanket where she'd left it. Leo sat on the edge of the bed. He felt like an intruder, but he forced himself to keep looking. He checked under the bed. Nothing but dust and a few lost toys. He opened her closet. Clothes hung in neat rows. He checked her dresser drawers, feeling guilty with every second. Then he saw it. On the inside of her nightstand drawer, hidden under a coloring book, was a piece of paper. Holly's handwriting, messy and uncertain. I'm sorry, Mommy. I'll be good. I promise. Leo's hands trembled as he held the note. The words were underlined 3 times. He turned the paper over. Nothing else. Just that one desperate sentence. He folded the note and put it in his pocket. In the bathroom, he opened the medicine cabinet. Band-Aids, children's Tylenol, and tucked behind the first aid kit, a tube of bruise cream, the kind used to reduce swelling and discoloration. Leo's vision blurred. He gripped the edge of the sink, trying to steady himself. That night, after Taylor and Holly came home, after dinner was eaten in tense silence, Leo waited. He waited until Taylor was asleep, her breathing deep and even. Then he slipped into Holly's room. She was curled on her side, her cast resting on top of the blanket. The nightlight cast soft shadows across her face. Leo knelt beside the bed and gently pulled the blanket down. He saw them immediately. Bruises, faint yellow and green marks along her shoulder and upper arm. Healing, but unmistakable. His breath caught. He pulled the blanket further. More bruises on her ribs, faded but still visible. Holly stirred. Her eyes fluttered open. Daddy, chill. It's okay. Go back to sleep. Are you mad at me? Leo's chest tightened. No, baby. I'm not mad at you. Not at all. Holly's eyes drifted shut. She mumbled, half asleep. Mom said not to tell you about the marks. Leo froze. What did you say? But Holly was already asleep again, her breathing soft and steady. Leo stood there for a long time, staring at his daughter, his heart breaking into pieces. He walked back to the garage and sat on the cold floor, his phone in his hand. He called Nina. I found bruises, he said, his voice hollow. Old ones. And a note she wrote apologizing to Taylor. Nina's voice was steady. Then you know what you have to do. Yeah, I do. He hung up and stared at the wall. Tomorrow, he would call Dr. Patel. Tomorrow, he would start protecting his daughter the way he should have been all along. Tonight, he just sat in the dark and let himself feel the weight of everything he'd failed to see. Monday morning arrived cold and gray. Leo woke on the garage floor, his back stiff, his mind made up. He waited until Taylor left for her morning yoga class before he made the call. Dr. Patel's office answered on the 3rd ring. Boise Family Clinic. How can I help you? This is Leo Ward. I need to speak with Dr. Patel. It's urgent. He's with a patient right now. Can I take a message? Tell him it's about my daughter, Holly. Tell him I found something. There was a pause. Hold, please. 2 minutes later, Dr. Patel's voice came through the line. Mr. Ward, what did you find? Leo's throat was dry. Bruises. Old ones. On her shoulders and ribs. And she said something last night. She said Taylor told her not to tell me about the marks. The silence on the other end felt heavy. Mr. Ward, I'm required by law to file a report with Child Protective Services when there's evidence of abuse. Based on what you've told me and what I observed during Holly's visit, I have enough to make that report now. Do you understand what that means? Yes. It means an investigation will be opened. Someone will come to your home to interview both you and your wife. They'll examine Holly. This will not be easy. I don't care. I just want her safe. Then I'm filing the report today. In the meantime, document everything. Take photos of the bruises if you can. Write down what Holly said. Keep any evidence you found. Okay. Mr. Ward, if at any point you feel Holly is in immediate danger, call 911. Don't wait. I won't. Leo hung up. His hands shook as he typed out notes on his phone, recording every detail he could remember. The scar, The bruises. The locked bathroom door. The note in Holly's drawer. He took photos of the note, making sure the handwriting was clear. Then he waited. Taylor came home an hour later, carrying a yoga mat and a smoothie. She smiled at him like nothing was wrong. Morning. Did you sleep out here again? Yeah. You should come back to bed. This is ridiculous. Leo didn't respond. He watched her walk into the house, watched her move through the kitchen like everything was normal. 2 days later, the knock came. Leo was at work, replacing a broken heater in the maintenance office, when his phone rang. Taylor's name flashed on the screen. There are police at our house, she hissed. What did you do? Leo's pulse spiked. I'm coming home. He drove faster than he should have, his mind racing. When he pulled into the driveway, a white sedan with government plates sat parked behind Taylor's car. Through the living room window, he could see 2 people inside. Leo walked through the front door. Taylor stood in the kitchen, her arms crossed, her face a mask of forced calm. A woman in her late 30s sat on the couch, a badge clipped to her belt. She stood when Leo entered. Mr. Ward? I'm Detective Lena Rourke with the Boise Police Department. This is my colleague, Ms. Janet Green from Child Protective Services. A second woman, older with gray hair, nodded from her seat. We're here to follow up on a report filed by Dr. Arjun Patel regarding your daughter, Holly Ward. Is she home? Leo glanced at Taylor. Her jaw was tight, her smile brittle. She's in her room, Taylor said smoothly. Playing. Detective Rourke nodded. We'd like to speak with both of you first, then we'll need to examine Holly and ask her a few questions. This is a standard procedure when allegations of child abuse are made. Taylor's smile didn't falter. Of course. Whatever you need. We have nothing to hide. She gestured to the table. Please sit. I just made cookies. Would anyone like some? Leo stared at her. She moved through the motions like she was hosting a book club, setting out a plate of chocolate chip cookies, pouring water into glasses. Her voice was soft, her posture relaxed. Detective Rourke accepted the water, but not the cookies. She pulled out a notebook. Mr. Ward, Dr. Patel indicated you found bruises on your daughter. Can you tell me about that? Leo sat down heavily. His hands rested on the table, fingers laced together. I found bruises on her shoulders and ribs. Old ones. She also had a scar I didn't know about. The doctor noticed it when she came in for a broken arm. And when did you notice these bruises? 2 nights ago. I checked on her while she was sleeping. Why did you feel the need to check on her? Leo hesitated. He could feel Taylor's eyes burning into him. Because the doctor asked me questions that made me pay more attention. And because my daughter has been scared lately. Scared of what? I don't know. But she doesn't act like a normal 6-year-old. Detective Rourke wrote something down. Mrs. Ward, do you know how your daughter got those bruises? Taylor's voice was calm, practiced. Children get bruises all the time, Detective. Holly's very active. She climbs on furniture. She runs around. She falls. I can't watch her every second. Have you noticed any specific incidents where she might have been injured? Not recently. Like I said, she's clumsy. She's always bumping into things. And the scar on her ribs? Taylor frowned, as if trying to remember. I honestly don't know. Maybe from daycare? She used to go to Little Explorers before we decided I'd stay home with her full time. That was about 8 months ago. Detective Rourke glanced at Leo. Did you ever see any signs of abuse while Holly was in daycare? No, Leo said. She loved it there. But you pulled her out? Taylor answered before Leo could. I wanted to be home with her. She's my daughter. I wanted that time with her. Detective Rourke nodded, her expression unreadable. And your relationship with your husband? How would you describe it? We're fine, Taylor said quickly. Every couple has disagreements, but we love each other. We love our daughter. Mr. Ward, Leo met the detective's gaze. We've had some tension lately. Taylor's smile tightened. Nothing serious, just normal stress. The interview continued for another 30 minutes. Detective Rourke asked about discipline methods, about Holly's behavior, about any family history of violence. Taylor answered every question with the same calm, reasonable tone. She laughed at the right moments, looked concerned at others. She played her part perfectly. Leo sat silent for most of it, his hands clenched under the table. Finally, Detective Rourke stood. We'd like to speak with Holly now. Alone. Taylor's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Of course. They brought Holly into the living room. She looked small and frightened, her purple cast bright against her pale skin. Ms. Green spoke to her gently, asking simple questions. Did she feel safe at home? Did anyone hurt her? Did Mommy or Daddy ever hit her? Holly shook her head to every question, her eyes darting to Taylor. My daughter would never lie, Taylor said softly. She's a good girl. Ms. Green asked to examine Holly privately. Taylor hesitated, then nodded. They took Holly into her bedroom and closed the door. Leo and Taylor sat in the kitchen, the silence between them thick and suffocating. You did this, Taylor said quietly. You betrayed me. Leo didn't look at her. I protected my daughter. You'll ruin this family. You already did. Taylor's hand slammed down on the table. You have no idea what you've done. Before Leo could respond, the bedroom door opened. Ms. Green and Detective Rourke emerged with Holly between them. We've completed our initial assessment, Detective Rourke said. We found evidence of healing bruises consistent with Mr. Ward's report. At this time, we're not removing Holly from the home, but we'll be conducting further interviews and monitoring the situation closely. We may need to speak with you both again. Taylor nodded, her face composed. Of course, we'll cooperate fully. After they left, Taylor turned on Leo. Her calm mask shattered. You just destroyed us. Do you understand that? They're going to keep coming back. They're going to keep questioning us. And for what? Because our daughter is clumsy? She's not clumsy, Leo said flatly. She's scared. Scared of what? You. Taylor's eyes filled with tears. How dare you? How dare you accuse me of hurting my own child? I love her more than anything. Then why does she flinch when you raise your voice? Why does she beg me to give her baths instead of you? Why did she write a note apologizing to you? Taylor's face went white. You went through her things? I found it by accident. But yeah, I found it. And I kept it. You had no right. I have every right. I'm her father. Taylor grabbed her purse. I can't be here right now. I can't even look at you. She left. The door didn't slam this time. It closed with a soft click that felt worse than any shout. Leo sat alone in the kitchen, his head in his hands. That night, Taylor didn't come home. She texted around midnight, saying she was staying with a friend. Leo slept in Holly's room, sitting in the chair beside her bed, watching her breathe. A week passed. Taylor came home, but barely spoke to him. She moved through the house like a ghost, her face cold and distant. Holly stayed close to Leo whenever he was home, clinging to his hand, following him from room to room. The tension in the house was unbearable. Leo took Holly to the park again, hoping fresh air might help. She stayed near him, not interested in playing. They sat on a bench together, watching other kids run and shout. Do you like living at home? Leo asked carefully. Holly nodded. I like being with you. What about being with Mom? Holly picked at a loose thread on her shirt. Sometimes. Only sometimes. She didn't answer. That evening, as Leo pulled into the driveway, he noticed Mrs. Holt, their elderly neighbor, standing in her front yard watering flowers. She waved him over. Leo, dear, can I talk to you for a moment? Leo walked across the grass. Mrs. Holt was 60, a widow who lived alone and kept her yard immaculate. She'd always been kind, bringing over cookies at Christmas, waving hello when she saw them. Is everything all right? She asked quietly. Yeah. What? Mrs. Holt glanced at his house, then back at him. Her voice dropped. I don't want to overstep, but I've been worried. I hear things at night. Through the walls. Leo's stomach dropped. What kind of things? Holly crying. Not normal crying. It's fear, Leo. I can hear it. And I hear your wife yelling. She hesitated. I almost called the police a few times, but I didn't want to interfere if it wasn't my place. Leo's chest tightened. How long has this been happening? Months. Maybe longer. I tried to tell myself it was just normal parenting stress, but she looked at him with sad eyes. That little girl sounds terrified. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I didn't know if you were aware, and I didn't want to cause trouble if I was wrong. You weren't wrong, Leo said quietly. Mrs. Holt touched his arm. If you need anything, if you need someone to testify or speak on your behalf, I will. That child deserves better. Thank you. Leo walked back to his house, his mind racing. That night, after Holly went to bed, after Taylor locked herself in the bedroom, Leo made a decision. He went to the hardware store and bought a small camera. It was designed to look like a wall clock, inconspicuous and simple. He brought it home, and when Taylor was asleep, he installed it in the bathroom, angled just right to capture the sink and tub area. His hands shook as he tested it. The camera fed to an app on his phone, recording everything. He felt sick doing it. Felt like he was crossing a line. But Nina's words echoed in his head. Get proof. 3 nights passed. The camera recorded nothing unusual. Taylor gave Holly baths without incident, gentle and patient. Leo started to doubt himself. Maybe he'd been wrong. Maybe he'd blown everything out of proportion. Then, on the 4th night, it happened. Leo was in the kitchen when he heard the bathroom door close. He glanced at his phone. The camera app showed Taylor and Holly in the bathroom. Taylor ran the water, testing the temperature. Holly stood beside her, quiet. Get in, Taylor said. Holly climbed into the tub. Taylor grabbed a washcloth and started scrubbing Holly's back. Hard. Holly flinched. Ow. Hold still. You're scrubbing too hard. You're filthy. This is what happens when you play outside. But it hurts. Stop complaining. Holly started to cry. Soft, quiet sobs. Taylor grabbed her arm. Stop crying. I can't. Yes, you can. You're being dramatic. Holly pulled away. I want Daddy. Taylor's face changed. Her grip on Holly's arm tightened. You always want Daddy. What about me? I'm the one who takes care of you all day. I'm the one who does everything for you. And you treat me like I'm nothing. I don't. Yes, you do. You ruin everything. Everything was fine before you started acting like this. Holly sobbed harder. Taylor yanked her forward. Stand still. Holly slipped. Her head hit the side of the tub with a dull thud. She cried out a sharp, terrified sound. Taylor grabbed her by the shoulders and shook her. Shut up. Stop crying. If your father hears you, he'll... She stopped. She looked around, as if suddenly aware of the walls, the neighbors, the world outside that small room. She let go of Holly and stepped back. Her hands shook. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm sorry, baby. Mommy didn't mean it. Holly curled into a ball in the tub, sobbing. Leo watched the footage on his phone, his vision blurring with rage. His whole body trembled. He wanted to storm into that bathroom, wanted to grab Taylor and drag her out. But he didn't. He took a screenshot of the moment Taylor grabbed Holly's arm. He saved the video file. He backed it up to the cloud. Then he called Nina. I have it, he said, his voice shaking. I have proof. What did you see? He told her everything. Nina's voice was hard. You have what you need. Don't talk to her. Don't warn her. Go to the police. Tonight. I will. Leo, listen to me. This ends now. You take that footage and you make sure she never gets the chance to hurt Holly again. Do you understand? Yeah, I understand. He hung up. He looked at the bathroom door, still closed. He could hear water draining. He didn't go to them. He went to his car, started the engine, and drove straight to the police station. The Boise Police Department's night shift receptionist looked up as Leo entered. He must have looked like hell because she stood immediately. Sir, are you all right? I need to speak with Detective Lena Rourke. It's about my daughter. She's not on duty right now, but I can get someone else. No, it has to be her. Can you call her? Please. It's an emergency. The receptionist made a call. 20 minutes later, Detective Rourke walked through the doors in jeans and a sweatshirt, her badge clipped to her belt. Mr. Ward, what happened? Leo handed her his phone. Watch this. Detective Rourke took the phone and watched the video. Her expression hardened. When it finished, she looked at Leo. Where did you get this? I installed a camera in my bathroom. I needed proof. When was this recorded? Tonight. About an hour ago. Detective Rourke handed the phone back. Wait here. She disappeared into the back offices. Leo sat in a plastic chair, his leg bouncing, his heart pounding. 30 minutes later, Detective Rourke returned with 2 uniformed officers. We're issuing a warrant for your wife's arrest. We'll be going to your home now. I need you to come with us. Leo stood. Is Holly safe? That's our priority. The drive home felt surreal. Leo sat in the back of a patrol car, watching the streetlights blur past. His phone buzzed. A text from Taylor. Where are you? He didn't answer. When they arrived, Taylor's car was in the driveway. Lights were on inside the house. Detective Rourke knocked on the door. Taylor opened it, her face confused. Detective? What's going on? Mrs. Taylor Ward, We have a warrant for your arrest on charges of child endangerment and abuse. Taylor's face went pale. What? No. There must be a mistake. Turn around and put your hands behind your back. This is insane. Taylor's voice rose. Leo, tell them this is insane. Leo stood behind the officers, his face blank. Taylor's eyes locked on him. You did this. You set me up. Leo didn't respond. You recorded me. She lunged forward, reaching for his phone. You invaded my privacy. That video is illegal. One of the officers stepped between them. Ma'am, you need to calm down. Taylor screamed. She clawed at the officer, trying to push past. You can't do this. You can't take me. They grabbed her arms. She fought, kicking and thrashing. Leo, stop them. Please. Leo watched, his expression cold. He felt nothing. No anger. No pity. Nothing. They cuffed her wrists. She sobbed, her voice breaking. You'll regret this. You'll destroy Holly's life. She needs her mother. You already destroyed it, Leo said quietly. Taylor's face twisted with rage. I hate you. I hate you so much. Good. They led her to the patrol car. She screamed the whole way, her voice echoing through the quiet neighborhood. Lights turned on in nearby houses. Curtains pulled back. People watched. Leo didn't care. Inside, Holly stood in the hallway in her pajamas, her eyes wide and terrified. Leo knelt in front of her. It's okay, baby. Everything's okay. Where's Mommy going? She's going away for a while. Is it my fault? Leo pulled her into his arms. No, it's not your fault. None of this is your fault. You did nothing wrong. Holly clung to him, her small body shaking. Are we safe now? Leo's throat tightened. He kissed the top of her head. Yes, I promise. We're safe. Detective Rourke stood in the doorway. We'll need to take Holly to be examined by a medical professional. It's protocol. Leo nodded. I'll go with her. They spent the next 4 hours at the hospital. Doctors examined Holly, documenting every bruise, every scar, every mark. Holly answered their questions in a small, scared voice. Yes, Mommy hurt her sometimes. Yes, she was scared. Yes, she wanted to stay with Daddy. By the time they got home, the sun was rising. Holly fell asleep in the car, exhausted. Leo carried her inside and laid her in her bed. He sat beside her, watching her breathe, his chest aching. He'd done it. He'd protected her. But the weight of it all felt crushing. The months that followed were a blur of court dates, lawyers, and testimony. Taylor was charged with multiple counts of child endangerment and abuse. The evidence was overwhelming. The video, the medical reports, Dr. Patel's testimony, Mrs. Holt's statement about the screaming she'd heard through the walls. Taylor's lawyer tried to argue postpartum depression, undiagnosed mental illness, accidental harm. They painted her as a struggling mother who'd made mistakes but never intended to hurt her daughter. Leo sat in the courtroom every day, his face expressionless. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Holly didn't have to testify in person. The judge allowed a recorded interview instead, sparing her the trauma of facing Taylor in court. But Leo watched the recording with everyone else, watched his daughter explain, in her small, careful voice, how Mommy got mad sometimes, how Mommy said she was bad, how Mommy hurt her when Daddy wasn't home. Leo's hands clenched so hard his knuckles turned white. Taylor cried through most of the trial. She wore soft colors, kept her hair neat, dabbed at her eyes with tissues. She apologized in her testimony, her voice shaking. I never meant to hurt her. I love my daughter. I was overwhelmed. I needed help, but I didn't know how to ask. I made terrible mistakes, and I'll regret them for the rest of my life. Her lawyer asked if she'd ever intentionally harm Holly. No, Taylor said, her voice breaking. Never intentionally. I lost control sometimes. I didn't know what I was doing. Leo's lawyer, a sharp woman named Ms. Brennan, cross-examined her without mercy. Mrs. Ward, if you didn't know what you were doing, why did you tell Holly not to tell her father about the marks? Taylor hesitated. I don't remember saying that. Holly remembers. Children misunderstand things. Do they misunderstand being shaken? Being scrubbed so hard they cry? Being told they ruin everything? I was frustrated. I didn't mean. You said, and I quote from a video, everything was fine before you started acting like this. What did you mean by that? Taylor's face crumpled. I don't know. You blamed a 6-year-old child for your own inability to control your temper. Is that correct? I didn't mean it that way. Then what did you mean? Silence. Ms. Brennan didn't let up. Mrs. Ward, how many times did you hurt your daughter? I don't know. More than once. Yes. More than 10 times? Taylor looked at her lawyer. No help came. Maybe. More than 20? I don't know. You don't know how many times you abuse your child? I wasn't abusing her. I was disciplining her by leaving bruises, by giving her scars, by making her so terrified she begged her father to give her baths instead of you. Taylor broke down sobbing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Ms. Brennan turned to the jury. No more questions. On the day of closing arguments, Leo sat in the front row. Ms. Brennan stood before the jury and spoke plainly. This case is about a woman who systematically hurt a child who trusted her, who depended on her, who had no choice but to endure the abuse because she was 6 years old and powerless. Taylor Ward had countless opportunities to seek help, to admit she was struggling, to ask for support. Instead, she chose violence. She chose to hurt the one person who should have been safest with her. The evidence is clear. The testimony is clear. Justice demands accountability. Taylor's lawyer gave his closing argument, pleading for leniency, for understanding, for compassion. Taylor Ward is not a monster. She's a human being who made mistakes. She's suffering. She's remorseful. Sending her to prison won't undo the harm. It will only create more pain. Leo sat stone-faced through all of it. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the verdict was unanimous. Guilty on all counts. The sentencing hearing came a week later. The judge, a stern woman in her 50s, asked Leo if he wanted to make a statement. Leo stood. He looked at Taylor for the first time since the trial began. You asked me once if I hated you, he said quietly. I don't. It would mean I still feel something. I don't. You're nothing to me now. You hurt my daughter. You broke her trust. You made her believe she was the problem when you were the one who couldn't control yourself. Taylor sobbed. Leo continued. You had a choice every single time. You chose to hurt her. You chose to lie. You chose to blame me for noticing. I will never forgive you, because forgiveness doesn't protect my daughter. It doesn't keep her safe. It doesn't undo what you did. He sat back down. The judge sentenced Taylor to 12 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 8. Taylor screamed as they led her away. This isn't fair. I'm her mother. She needs me. Leo didn't look back. Moving was harder than Leo expected. They left the house in Boise, the one filled with too many bad memories, and rented a small 2-bedroom place on the edge of town. It was quieter there, away from the old neighborhood, away from people who whispered and stared. The first few months were rough. Holly had nightmares, waking up screaming 2 or 3 times a week. Leo would rush to her room, holding her until she calmed down, whispering that she was safe, that no one would hurt her. Therapy helped. Dr. Karen Mills, a child psychologist, saw Holly twice a week. Slowly, painfully, Holly started to heal. She talked about her feelings more. She cried when she needed to. She laughed more often. Dr. Patel continued checking on her, stopping by the house, sometimes just to say hello. Nina came over almost every day, helping with meals and laundry and bedtime routines. Leo quit his maintenance job and found something closer to home, with better hours, so he could be there when Holly got home from school. One evening, about 4 months after the trial, Leo found Holly sitting at the kitchen table with crayons and paper. She was drawing, her tongue stuck out in concentration. What are you making? He asked. She held up the picture. It was the two of them, stick figures holding hands, standing under a bright sun. No one else in the picture. Just them. It's us, she said. Happy. Leo's throat tightened. Yeah, baby. That's us. She smiled, a real smile, the kind he hadn't seen in years. That night, after Holly went to bed, Leo sat on the porch with a beer he didn't drink. Nina joined him, sitting in the chair beside him. You did good, Leo, she said quietly. I should have done it sooner. You did it when you were ready. That's what matters. They sat in silence, listening to the crickets, watching the stars. One night, about 6 months after Taylor's sentencing, Holly came to Leo while he was washing dishes. Daddy. Yes, sweetheart. Can I ask you something? Leo dried his hands and knelt down. Anything. Holly's face was serious. Mom said you'd hate me if you knew her secret. Is that true? Leo's chest ached. He pulled Holly into his arms. No, that's not true. The only secret I needed to know was the truth. And I do. And I love you more than anything in the world. Nothing will ever change that. Holly hugged him tight. I love you too. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other in the quiet kitchen. Life wasn't perfect. Some days were hard. Some days Holly still flinched at loud noises or cried for no reason Leo could see. But she was getting better, stronger, safer, and that was enough. A year after the trial, Leo received a letter from the prison. Taylor wanted to see him. She'd written 3 times, each letter pleading for a visit, for a chance to explain, for closure. Leo threw the first 2 letters away without reading them. The third one he opened. It said only, please, I need to see you. Just once. Leo stared at the letter for a long time. Nina told him not to go. You don't owe her anything. I know. Then why are you even considering it? Because I need to close this door. For good. Nina didn't argue. She just hugged him and told him to call her when it was done. The prison was 2 hours away, a low concrete building surrounded by chain-link fences topped with razor wire. Leo signed in at the front desk, went through security, and was led to a small visiting room with plastic tables and chairs bolted to the floor. He sat and waited. 10 minutes later, a guard brought Taylor in. She looked different, thinner. Her hair was cut short, streaks of gray at her temples. Her face was hollow, her eyes red-rimmed. She wore a gray jumpsuit that hung loose on her frame. She sat down across from him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Thank you for coming, Taylor said finally. Her voice was hoarse. Leo didn't respond. I know you hate me. I don't hate you, Leo said flatly. Hate would mean I still feel something. I don't. Taylor flinched. I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. For everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I needed you to hear it. I heard it in court. I meant it. Leo leaned back in his chair. Do you remember what you said to Holly the night I recorded you? You told her she ruined everything. That everything was fine before she started acting like this. Do you remember? Taylor's eyes filled with tears. Yes. She was 6 years old. She didn't ruin anything. You did. I know. Do you? Because you spent months trying to convince everyone you were just a struggling mother who made mistakes. But you knew what you were doing. You told Holly not to tell me. You hid the bruises. You locked the bathroom door. You weren't out of control. You were deliberate. Taylor sobbed. I was angry. I was so angry all the time, and I didn't know how to stop. I took it out on her, and I shouldn't have. I should have asked for help. Why didn't you? Because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want anyone to know I wasn't perfect. Leo stood. You're not the victim here, Taylor. Holly is. And she's the only one who matters. Do you hate me that much? Taylor asked, her voice breaking. Leo looked at her one last time. No. Hate would mean I still feel something. I just don't anymore. He turned and walked out. The guard led him back through the security doors, back into the bright sunlight outside. Leo stood in the parking lot for a moment, breathing in the fresh air, feeling lighter than he had in months. He pulled out his phone and called Nina. It's over, he said simply. Good. Come home. Home. The word felt right now. Leo drove back to the small rental house where Holly waited. When he walked through the door, she ran to him, throwing her arms around his waist. Did you bring pizza? Leo laughed. Yeah, baby. I brought pizza. They ate dinner together at the kitchen table, just the 2 of them. Holly told him about her day, about the drawing she made in art class, about the friend she'd made at school. After dinner, Holly brought out her latest picture. She'd been working on it all week. It showed the 2 of them standing in front of a house with a big yard and a dog. This is what I want, she said. A house with a yard. And a dog. Can we get a dog, Daddy? Leo studied the drawing. The house looked happy. The dog looked happy. Holly looked happy. Yeah, he said. We could get a dog. Holly squealed and hugged him. That night, Leo taped the drawing to the refrigerator with a magnet shaped like a star. He stood back and looked at it. This vision of the future his daughter had imagined. It wasn't the family he'd planned. It wasn't the life he'd thought he'd have. But it was real. It was safe. It was theirs. And that was the only family portrait that ever mattered.